something inside me knew that something needed to change, something to shift. And I knew that if I stayed home or just continued going over the same rudimentary questions in my head, I wasn't going to find it. And when I ran into Katie in London, she mentioned that she was going to run a retreat in Sri Lanka, and something inside me said, yes, I'm doing that. And I didn't know all the details and the how, but it didn't matter. What mattered was that my spirit said, yes, this is what you need to go to your next level. I don't know if words can really capture it. It's really not something to describe, it's more to feel. If I were to describe it, it's almost like a slice of heaven on earth. And it not only is it aesthetically beautiful and pleasing, it's a feeling. There's a vibration here that, I go back to, it's a feeling. It's serene. The serenity is priceless. The people here are generous. They're generous of spirit. What I also learned by being in this venue, doing the work that we did, unbeknownst to me, it's a place that you need real support. Doing that work, that opening up of your heart, of your letting go of the thinking piece and tapping into desire, to do that work, you need to be supported. And not only does the physicality support that work, the people here, that's all they want to do. And for me personally, I've always struggled with the concept of receiving. So without even knowing it, because I wasn't asked to it, they were just giving. And in turn, I received and got to feel and experience what that is unabashedly, unconditionally. So there's, between the food that nurtures you, the venue itself, the wildlife, the noises, the bungalow, the yoga that we did, the smiles that the people give you here. It is just generosity of spirit, and abundance is everywhere. What made this adventure/retreat so unique and so special? I've done other retreats in the past, and exactly that. You get a schedule from 8 to 9 to 10 to 11, 11 to 12. We're going to journal, we're going to eat, We really didn't have, there was a structure, but it was a fluid structure. And with that, other than things that were basic, like you knew in the morning we would do yoga, and at some time in the morning there'd be breakfast, but it wasn't, and that was lovely to lean into it, what we needed. And that's the brilliance of Katie, is that she's able to intuit and sense where we were emotionally, where our hearts were, what we needed, even when we weren't aware what we needed ourselves. And she would guide us gently throughout the day, and everything evolved and in perfection. And what was fascinating, the work that we would do in the morning followed by our activities in the afternoon, it just was synergistic. I don't think you can plan that. And I think that just takes the leader, a good leader, a true leader, a heartfelt leader, to understand and guide that. What I discovered is the answer that I'm searching for, and the questions that I have, the answers for that is all within me. It's always been there. And so what I learned and what was shown to me was to trust myself, to go within myself, and more importantly, to be still so I can listen to myself. I'm such a doer, do, achieve, go, go, go. And in that frenzy and frenetic energy, there's no possible way I could hear myself. So coming to retreat, to a place like this where it supports my nervous system to calm down, all the activities that we did, all the conversations that we had, little by little, I got more and more in touch back to myself. And therefore I could hear and be reminded that I don't have to go out there. It's all really in here. What I learned is I have to put myself first. And by that, and it's not a selfish thing. It's necessary. necessary to be the best version of myself so I can be the best version of myself professionally, in relationship with family, friends, to be the best mom I can be, and to also live the best life. I can't live it from a place of depletion. So what has been shown to me, what I'm reminded of, is that in taking care of myself is actually an act of self-love. It's not selfishness. It's actually required to be in order to live my best life. So today we're leaving, and it's exciting to be going because I feel more grounded. If I compare myself, actually I don't even remember myself when I arrived, and I don't want to, other than knowing that that was not a good place. But my memory of what I felt like was exhausted, depleted. I used the term brain numb, where I was not really able to think, to hear, to even have insight into what was troubling me or keeping me separated from that I wanted. So now, just by simply being and being still and doing the work and all the practices, like being reminded to be back in my body with yoga and eating good food and taking time to nurture myself and have self-care, like having extraordinary Ayurvedic massage, and I feel settled, I feel grounded, I feel connected, and I feel ready for what's next. What I'm taking home with me, apart from incredible memories and being reconnected to myself and my heart, is the knowing. It's more than a knowing, an imperative that my heart's desires have to be prioritized on my to-do list. And the first thing is not to doing, but to being, and to being connected to my heart's desires, and that is what is to lead me. And that's what I want to be reminded of every day. And I'm also reminded that I need to have a practice to anchor that. Because what I want more than anything now, my greatest desire, is to live by my rules, my life rules, no longer the conditioning or the shoulds and those things that make others happy. And the only way I can do that is by prioritizing my desires. So, I mean, as I've said before, it's positively impacted my life in the sense that it goes back to a remembering of who I am, what my essential spirit is about, what matters most, what I value most, what am I willing to do? Am I willing to make the tough, what may appear to be tough choices when are actually the most natural choices? Is to be myself and to live my best life. And everyone gets to benefit from that. I'm at the point in my life right now that I feel the importance of how time matters. And what does that mean? I'm 53 years old, and every moment counts, every moment. And I don't say that from a perspective of scarcity. On the contrary, it all matters now. So what is the quality of the life that I want moving forward? And I no longer am available for just settling. It's too important. So I take the steps that are necessary to ensure that my days are filled with laughter, joy, value, based upon what I find to be valuable. If you're given an opportunity to go on retreat with Katie, I wouldn't even think twice. Don't hesitate. Do it. You'll never regret one moment of it. On the contrary, you will thank yourself later for having the opportunity to be led by a heart-led leader who has your best interest at heart, who will care for you when you are not even caring for yourself, who will lead you to the best part of yourself. If you don't have the time, then you're not choosing your life. You make the time. You make the time, because it will change your life. I have two teenagers, young teenagers, I live 10,000 miles away. I have a very demanding job, and I had to choose me. And I'm so glad that I did. And I knew and I trusted, because I was choosing myself, everything fell into place. And that, not only did I do that as an act of self-love for myself, I also demonstrated to my family how the importance of that, and they could not have been more supportive. And every time I would speak to them or text with them, they're saying, everything is great. Are you having a good time? Don't worry about us. So it's not an excuse. I get that sometimes the cost of something may seem daunting, but I think the real question is, what is the cost of not doing it? And I also believe that if you want it, it aligns itself. It really does. This year, I already had exceeded my own travel budget, but when I knew that my heart's desire was to do it, it all fell into place, and I didn't think twice. And if we talk in terms of investment, there is no better investment. This has changed the trajectory of my life. What price is that? I'm willing to pay. It's not an issue of money. One of the things that I thought was very inviting of the offer was, the location itself was thousands of miles, 10,000 to be exact, from my home. So part of that commitment of going that distance, part of it was saying I was worth that effort. Part of it was, it gave me some pause. It made me a little nervous to go that distance to the unknown. And when I experience that feeling, that's when I know I have to say yes to myself, because if it scares me, it's something I need to do, explore. And I really didn't overthink it. I really just felt it. And I didn't know what the answer was going to be. I just knew that this was a definite yes, and an adventure awaited, and it would unfold, and it would be revealed to me in its proper time. That was clear. So I'm committed to, first and foremost, is me. I think I have a pattern of self-abandon. And what I mean by that is I know intellectually that I have to put myself first and my life first and all that. But I am notorious for self-abandoning and putting myself last and putting others' needs first. And as the adage says, when you're on an airplane, the first thing you need to do is put your own air mask on. So I need to put me first and be unapologetic about it. The type of work that I needed, that she was the person to be the guide for it. It was not a thought. It was a feeling and a trust. And something also about Katie, I've done several other programs in the past and worked. What I love about Katie is that what she teaches, she embodies and she lives. It's not something that she does, it's something that she is. And going back to her vulnerability, she's always telling you how she is in process, and she remembers what is true, and is so transparent with it. And in thus, it's a great model for what is possible. And it's not, she doesn't have that, this is me, I am guru, and follow me along. No, this is me. And it's her gift. It's her gift. And so, yeah, I want to follow that, because there's not a lot of authenticity in the world we live in today. It's not a doing that Katie does. It's a being that Katie does. And in Katie being is what she teaches. She leads from her heart. She's very intuitive. She's very sensitive to the energy. She's also masterful at connecting the dots. Meaning, we may have had a discussion months prior, and she remembers that. And then if something is coming up in the present moment, she magically is able to hold up a mirror and show for me the connection, what's missing, and how to turn it around. It's a gift that she has. And again, it goes back to Katie lives her philosophy. She's in the work, whether she's reading or interviews somebody or what, and she's always bringing it to the forefront. And one of her strengths too, we could be in conversation or in session, and she is reminded of an incredible tool and says, I think this is what you need to hear or what you need to read or need to do, and spot on. Spot on. Katie's special skill, and I would argue her superpower, is her ability to show up with a big open heart. And in doing that, as she vibrates that love, it's an invitation for those around her to do the same in return. The other thing that Katie does so well is she listens. She truly listens, not only in the words that are spoken, but the underneath what those words are. And I feel that she sees me. She truly sees me and she hears me. And then puts up a mirror so I can see and hear it for myself. That's her superpower.